You're listening to The Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa. From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
At the Olympics, U.S. men's basketball team won its quarterfinal match easily over Brazil, 122-87. Devin Booker had 18 points, Anthony Edwards 17 points. They were a part of 6 different players in double digits for the U.S. It's now on to the semifinals against Serbia. U.S. women's soccer team won its semifinal match with Sophia Smith scoring in extra time as the U.S. pulls out a 1-0 win over Germany. On to the gold medal match now against Brazil on Saturday. Baseball games of note, White Sox snapped their 21-game losing skid with a 5-1 win over the A's. Battle of division leaders had the Phillies beating the Dodgers 6-2. LA's lead in the NL West is down to 4 games on San Diego. Astros beat the Rangers 4-2. Houston starter Framber Valdez was 1 out away from a no-hitter, but Corey Seager had a 2-run homer to spoil that. Houston still gets the win and moves a half game back to Seattle for the AL West lead. Mariners lost to the Tigers 4-2. Yankees and Angels were rained out while the Orioles lost to the Blue Jays 5-2. So New York has a half game lead on Baltimore atop the AL East.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to center and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to pick it, and our running back coach didn't take the pass. biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show, powered by Box Eye Care. We're glad to have you on with us on this Wild Card Wednesday. We got a lot of conversation we can get to. We still have some audio from Coach DeBoer. We have audio from Kane Womack. And we have open phone lines for you. 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. That's the hotline that's open for business, and you can give us a call, or you can join us on the live stream over at the Martin Houston Show on Facebook. We'd love to have you join us in the conversation over there. Also want to remind you that, hey, if you have something that's cooking and stirring and you want to bring it to the table, go ahead. We'd love to have it as a part of the conversation. So go ahead and get your thoughts and your comments and your reactions ready and bring it to the table, because this is the Sound of Bama Sports. It's your show, your team. We're talking Alabama sports, and there's a lot, that we can get to. And I was just making some topics and different things I want to talk about as we move throughout this summer, heading into the first game, fall camp, looking at things like expectations and which position group is underrated and which group is unappreciated. And that's two different things. Sometimes when you say underrated and underappreciated, people think the same thing. What's the identity of this team? What will be the identity of this Alabama team? Will it be offense? Will it be defense? Will it be a defense that blitzes? Will it be an offense that runs the ball? Will it be an offense that passes the ball? Will be the identity. So we can talk about those types of things. Who's going to be the breakout players? And this could be the same thing, but who's going to be the top newcomer? So all of those are things that I'm looking at and would like to have conversations with you, and we'll have them in and out throughout the summer. And so if you have something you're like, man, Martin, you really, really need to talk about this, go ahead and get that in, and we'll work it into the conversation. Good morning, X. How you doing, man?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Can't complain. It's a beautiful day, and I woke up in my right mind and getting to talk Alabama sports. It doesn't get much better than that. So as we move forward, I want to remind you that this is a day that the Lord has made. So let's rejoice, be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. So, yeah, as I was saying, X, you got anything that's like jumping out at you? Like, okay, I want to make sure we talk about this or that. Anything just stirring in that capacity?
Did you talk about the weight gains, the physical maturity of some of these players over this offseason, especially one, Keon Keeley?
I have not. I think someone asked Coach about that yesterday, but I have not talked about. We've talked a lot in previous shows about guys losing weight, but I don't know that anybody has talked about the weight gain. So let me see if I can find that Keon Keeley. I think
Keon's not the only one. He just had the biggest jump when you look at size over this offseason, and he won it by 4 pounds from his weight listed last year to this year. And Keon is sitting at a nice 277 pounds after arriving on campus last year at just a little bit over 240 last year.
Oh, wow. That's impressive. And did they say whether or not he kept his explosiveness and all of that?
They're saying that he's still moving well. It was a weight gain that gets him really into that bandit size, and he started off 20 pounds lighter than LT Overton, and LT also put on almost 20 pounds, and so you're looking at two bandits of the future, 277, 283. Jeremiah Beeman came in at 296, a 31-pound weight gain. You've got some DBs that have put on a lot of size as well. Xavier Brown's almost 200. Devontae Smith is coming in at 205. Red Morgan, 186, a 11-pound weight gain. But I don't know if you've seen the videos of the two guys to me that just are really impressive. I don't know if you've seen any clips of how fluid and athletic Deontay Lawson and Jahad Campbell still are looking this fall, and they're up to 244 and 239 respectively.
So last year we had our offensive linemen get fat. Gain weight, bulk up, whatever you want to call it. It didn't help us. It didn't help us.
It did not.
As a matter of fact, I heard a guy on Ryan's show. The best way he said it was as if this coaching staff spent all last year planning to be a run first team, and then they got in the season and didn't run the ball. And I don't know if that was because the offensive line couldn't block, but they didn't build around their quarterback. They built around their offensive line, I guess, and then didn't call plays around the offensive line, or we just couldn't run the ball as effective as we thought. Found ourselves in a lot of passing situations on second and especially third down, which put Jalen as a disadvantage as a first-year guy. And so you just wonder if that would happen. But all of the guys you just mentioned, were they all defensive guys?
That's just the defensive guys. There's some notable offensive guys as well. And this one's really interesting to me. Parker Brailsford, he's up to 290. You have the tight end room. These guys are some big old boys. Robbie Oots is coming in at 270. CJ Dupree, 262. Josh Cuevas, 251. And then this one's kind of crazy. Ryan Williams has put on 10 pounds since he arrived this summer, so he's up to 175. Caden Proctor, as slim and fit as he looks,
He still weighs
369 pounds.
That's what I'm saying. He had to be 390 last year, close to 400.
If not 400.
He had to be. There's no way
He had to.
that guy. There's no way he wasn't pushing 400 or over. If he's still, and that's what I think that's why Coach the board the other day said he's still gonna be a big boy. He just thick. He's just gonna be massive.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, but here's what's interesting. Every guy that you mentioned on offense needed to gain weight this year. All of the guys who need to lose weight lost weight.
Right.
Okay.
And our running backs, Justice Haynes is of the three running backs we're talking about, Justice is the smallest at 210. Jam's 218. Richard Young's 216. But this one actually shocked me because when he came here, Caleb Odom, we thought he was going to be a tight end. He's staying at wide receiver. Caleb Odom is up to 227 pounds.
Yeah, and I want to talk about Odom and Oots and Dupree and Quades, all those guys in just a moment. Let's listen to Coach DeBoer. I think I found that audio where he was asked about the young man you started this conversation off talking about.
6'5", 277 pounds. And what does that do for the defense, the defensive line, just that bulk and having that extra girth up front?
Well, I mean, Keon has a very special skill set. He's very strong at the point of attack. He's very twitchy to be that big. We made that transition from him being an outside linebacker, which when you see his frame at this level and the next level, he most certainly, is going to be more of that rush defensive end. Now, we'll still drop those guys from time to time, right? We do different things with them. But at the same time, I think he's been really impressive with just being able to put his hand in the dirt, something that he hasn't really done much, and I think he's taken to that role, and he's learning a ton right now. But you see him taking some steps. I thought another guy that made great steps from the spring this summer.
X, and we'll talk about it more on the other side because I want to talk about the weight gain with this staff versus the weight gain last year's staff. Okay, so let's make sure we get that on the other side and break that down, why I think that's important. We'll also, I'll let you react to Keon Keeley and what Coach Womack had to say about him. As we go to break, want to remind you that you're listening to the Martin Houston Show. It's powered by Box Eye Care. That's Box Eye Care, and we appreciate them being a part of the program there. And we're excited to announce that they've moved to a new location, bringing you a brand new lab, stylish new frames, and a fresh look just for you. Enjoy their expanded frame inventory, competitive prices, and faster service, all with the same great service level that you come to know and trust. Discover full service eye care at Dr. Box Eye Care's new location. With their in-house lab, they offer unbeatable value and one of the largest frame collections in town. They'll have you looking good. Schedule your eye exam today and walk out with those new glasses in most cases in less than an hour. Visit boxeyecare.com. That's boxeyecare.com or call 205-342-0660. Find them at 5003 Oscar Basker Drive between Met Center and Outback. Dr. Box Eye Care and Dr. Daniel Box, it's your vision, their priority.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, hello and happy hump day to you. Now, we do have a little bit of a situation in the area. Not a huge deal, but I do want you to be aware of this situation on 15th Street, both north and southbound at 10th Avenue. Traffic lights are not working, so you're definitely going to have to treat that like a four-way stop. And if you're
you by Tidwell Chiropractic, the only third-generation chiropractor with over 26 years experience in Tuscaloosa. Call Tidwell Chiropractic at 752-2503.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A sizzling summer day today with a good supply of sunshine, the high 98. Tonight fair with the low at 74. Tomorrow and Friday, sunny both days, highs between 93 and 96. The weather not as hot on Saturday, the sky sunny, the high at 90. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
It locked into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. It's the Martin Houston Show powered by Box Eye Care. Hey, you got Timberland in West Alabama. North River Timber Company has you covered. Since 2011, Courtney White, a registered forester, along with his expert team, have been managing timberland and harvesting timber across 4 West Alabama counties, and that number continues to grow. They offer comprehensive timber management, reforestation services, and appraisals. Courtney White says timber is like money in the bank. Take full advantage and don't let your investment go unrealized. Call them today, that's North River Timber Company, and unlock the true potential of your land at 205-242-5127 or email them at North River Timber CO, that's North River Timber CO at gmail.com. All right. And hey, and don't forget, check out the Legacy gear. You can get your officially licensed, co-branded Alabama swag, the Legacy collection, premium jerseys, caps, etc. Make fullbacks great again, and customize Martin Houston swag. But jump on that Legacy gear. The only place you can get it with that Script A, and or you can get the old Varsity A with Legacy in the banner. That and more, go to athletesthread.com/collections/Martin-Houston. And if you're tuned in online, all you have to do is hit the QR code. And if you're listening on the radio and you want to go find it and you can't remember that website, just go to the Martin Houston Show, find today's broadcast and QR code it there. All right, X, as we were going to break, we were talking about Keon Keeley and specifically putting on the weight. Last year, we talked about how this coaching staff, last year's coaching staff, man, they just beefed these boys up. Got them big, man. Got us hyped. And then didn't do anything with it, right? Never utilize it. Waste it. But how important is this year's weight gain for this team when you look at the fact that we're a 4-2-5 defense? And the big concern is when you have this type of defense is that you're going to run into trouble with teams like Georgia. Like we're going to, with this defense, the Texas, which gave us trouble, the Tennessee, which given us trouble, the Auburn in the past when they've had good offense, they've given us trouble. We're going to be better served to play against those guys. Now Georgia becomes an anomaly, right? Even though we have switched, I know Saban has tried to switch over to smaller guys, but I don't think we ever fully embraced. I don't think Pete Golden could get us where Saban wanted to go, because way too often look at the DBs who have left here and the defensive players who have left here. and barely perform here, barely get drafted, and then go on to be a first-year starter at the next level. Is this weight gain part and partial the reason this defense will be able to go back and forth? Because they're taking the athletes, like they moved Keeley instead of leaving him as an outside linebacker and trying to make a defensive lineman lose weight. They took an athlete, made him gain weight. They took Devontae Smith and moved him and guys like Red Morgan, the Husky, and beefed them up a little bit instead of taking a linebacker and making him lose weight. It's almost like they have a different philosophy of beefing up the guys and keeping the athletic advantage while putting on muscle.
Yeah, I mean, I think you needed a little bit more, especially when you think about this defense. You have the base of this defense is only supposed to be 2 true D linemen, a edge rushing defensive lineman, a edge rushing linebacker. So both of those outside guys have to be a little bit bigger than what we've seen in the past, but still be able to keep their athleticism. You've got two backers. That's it. 2 backers. So they have to be athletic enough to cover in the pass, but still have the size to go up and hit a guard or a center in the mouth and
still got 2 run stoppers.
Yeah, engage in the run game. That Husky position has to be a de facto mix between a linebacker and a safety. So he has to be a little bit thicker build, a little bit bigger body, because he's going to be counting it on in the run game as well. So when you look at those 7, which become your de facto front 7, you want athleticism and everything, but you also need to be able to bulk up and handle the run game. And that's what you're seeing. You look at an LT Overton and a Keon Keeley, those 2 guys who were 240 and 260, now in the 270s, 280s. You look at Campbell and Lawson, who were 230, now they're 240, 245.
Yeah.
The outside linebacker, excuse me, you look at what Will Anderson and Dallas Turner did when getting ready for the pros. They both put on 10 to 15 pounds. And now that's what we're going to have at the collegiate level with those guys. Love the star position. But the star position has been a guy that's been 190 pounds. Now it was looking like that guy's going to be 200 to 205. And people are like, oh, well, that's 10, 15 pounds. That 10 to 15 pounds when you have to play the run is so important at the end of the day.
Yeah, it matters. When I was 215 versus 225, it was a huge difference because power is speed times mass, right? And so if you don't lose your speed and you add mass, you become a more powerful player. Here's what Coach had to say in regards to that Husky position. And listen to the names he mentioned, because I'm trying to tell everybody we need to stop worrying about I have like 5 clips from Coach DeBoer of why we don't need to worry about our DBs. Because here's another guy. Here's a freshman and a 100-year-old guy that Coach Womack talks about.
Yeah, the Husky position is such a critical spot for us, because you're really asking a guy with a dynamic skill set, right, to do a lot of different things. He's got to play man, he's got to play zone, he's got to be able to rush off the edge, he's got to be able to fit in the box from time to time. And so there's a lot of things at play there. But I've been really pleased, with a number of those guys so far. I think Devontae Smith has done a really good job. Red Morgan has really impressed me. I think Red, it's always fun to watch freshmen from where they were in the spring to, where they're headed and that jump that they make in through the summertime. I think he's probably made a huge jump in that regard. And then I've been pleased with some of the things I've seen from King Mack as well, coming from another institution, learning all the things that he needed to learn. He's really taken that extra step in the summertime here to be able to do that, so that he can go execute it, at the level that we need him to.
When you have a lot of new guys in the secondary, do you try to cross-train them at Husky, or just have them focus on one position?
No, it's a good question. I mean, you nowadays you really see this in the NFL, right? I mean, heck, Brian Branch is a great example of that. I mean, people are really trying to get a nickel, right, a Husky nickel type player, down in and down out, and you almost have to recruit or draft to that position specifically. But I think, same way in the NFL, probably even more so than us, right? You always have to have the next best guy out of that room, right, that can step in anywhere. So if it's at the Husky position, if it's at the rover, safety, field, or boundary, whatever it may be, you've got to have crossover work out of that whole safety room.
Yeah, X, you hear him talking, and, we've talked about a lot of good guys, right? Lots of guys making impact in this room. But I think if Red Morgan had a 4 or a 5 behind his name, is the conversation around him any different than what we were hearing from Caleb Downs last year?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But he don't get the same love. Go ahead.
Not at all. No. I don't think there's a huge difference if that was the case. I mean, you look at what he's been able to do, the impression he's been able to make throughout the course of the season. I think if he had been a top end guy, he would be looked at in the way that we look at a lot of these guys that have come through Alabama. So no, I don't think it would be a huge difference in what he's gotten as far as love and attention. But that's just kind of the way it falls sometimes.
Yeah, and the part I love is the fact that he gave a shout out to Devontae Smith, and he gave a shout out to King Mack. That's 3 guys that have it's youth with a lot of talent, it's age, and then there's experience. So between those 3 guys and whoever else they end up putting out there at Husky, I think Alabama's going to be okay in the secondary. Let's get to Alan before we get to break here. Alan, you're in with Martin and Xavier. What's on your mind? Alan, you still there? All right. We're going to break. We'll come back on the other side from break and get him in as we go to break. Food, music, and more. Come and taste what's new in Tuscaloosa at the Venue. Tuscaloosa's newest hangout, where you can find good times and a safe and fun hangout experience for your family and friends. Check out Finney's Pub. Enjoy frozen sweet treats, specialty pizzas, and subs at Lisa's Sweet Shop, or all-day breakfast and burgers from, Rama Jammas at the Venue. It's the perfect spot for any occasion. Visit them at 646
or visit oxhomeservices.com. Don't sweat it. Let us handle the heat. Ox Home Services, your trusted partner in home comfort.
Are you receiving unemployment? Your benefits could be at risk. Here's how you can protect yourself and your benefits. Never respond to mail notifying you of a false claim in your name. Never answer a text message asking you to verify your account. And only respond to official Alabama Department of Labor's social media pages. Report fraud at labor.alabama.gov/fraud. Brought to you by the Alabama Department.
Now through December 28th, Castrol Edge and Edge High Mileage Motor Oil are on rollback at Walmart.
Claim based on sequence 9 test under high-load conditions versus API SP test limits.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show, powered by Box Eye Care. Visit boxeyecare.com. I want to thank Taco Casa for all their great support throughout the years. They have been my longest running sponsor, and so glad that they're still part of the team, part of the winning roster. It's Taco Casa, tacocasa.com. 6 locations in Tuscaloosa, West Alabama to better serve you. One up in Birmingham off of Lakeshore Drive. That's right, Taco Casa, whether you're looking to get the taco salad, you may be getting, the taco burger that just showing you there, or whatever you get, it's going to be quality, taste, and value since 1974. And they have the sweet tea to wash it all down. That's Taco Casa, tacocasa.com. Go check them out and tell them that Martin Houston told you to stop by. All right, let's keep things rolling right here on your home for Alabama Sports Talk 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. We lost Alan. Let me know if he calls back in. Apologize for that. But X, there's so much going on. You mentioned those inside linebackers and the fact that you really only have 2 guys. But Kane was asked about those 2 guys. About would he find a way to get all 3 of these guys, on the field at one time? And, here's what he had to say about getting these guys on the field at one time. I guess the question that I'd ask you, X, do you see that happening because there's such a base, or do you think that, see a lot of times where it's just going to be those 2 guys out there? Just 2 guys. I think based on what he's saying about Jefferson. Actually, let's just hear what he said about Jefferson, then I'll let you react. How about that?
I think there's I think when you look at that position, right, you've got to find ways to get people like that on the field, right? We have 3 starter-type players, right? And so, we're always going to look at packages and ways that we can say, okay, when they come out in this personnel grouping, we'd love to find a way to get these guys out there on the field. We are a 5 defensive back defense, right? And so for us, right, that's not going to change. That's who we are. That's what we're going to do. But at the same time, right, finding creative ways, maybe in some sub packages, to be able to get them out there would be great. And that'd be more of a game plan thing, week to week. Whatever.
So, X, when you look at that, to me, Pat should be beating the phones up right now. Pat's been talking about you can't teach speed. Pat's been saying that since the young man committed. It's good to hear. I'm hoping we get at least one more. I'm hoping Jeremy Alexander comes along, because I think you need about 4 inside linebackers, to make it through a season, just because of the physicality of that position. Your thoughts?
100% agree with that. And there's been talks of there potentially being a couple of situations where you'll have all 3 of those guys out on the field at a time. I'd kind of love to see, is that a 3 lineman, 4 linebacker, a 4 DB situation when you have those 3 guys out there? Because when you look at a guy like Jefferson, he's probably one of the fastest guys on the team. So you look at that and go, well, where do you sub? Who do you take out for him? But I think it's a great move to have him on the field with those guys, just the versatility that he brings to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is going to be interesting. Curtis Moore addresses it as well. What you're probably going to see, I think, with Jefferson having his speed and size, that you may see some, and that's what Curtis was saying, going to be some 3-3-5 packages. He pretty much was saying we're going to keep 5 DBs on the field, especially if the Husky can be strong against the run. And when I when I say strong against the run for the listening audience, guys, it's called being able to set the edge. When I played fullback, I licked my chops against this type of defense. And this is, it's gonna, it is what it is. If I came out and they had a DB set to set the edge, it was game on. Coach Stallings saw a tall sweep coming, and that poor DB was going to get his lunch taken. It didn't matter to me. You could put Minka, you could put Branch, you can put Devontae, you could put any of those guys out there. I was going to take their lunch if they weighed 200 pounds. And they were not going to be able to set the edge. And what this setting the edge means is that the guy could have such a force that they would make the running back turn back inside. But with a fullback, that fullback could come full speed and kick that guy out or hook him. It didn't matter. Sometimes I would hook the guy and the running back would run straight around him. Or sometimes I would just drive him so far that the gap between where the end was X and where the DB ended up, it didn't matter that he still maintained outside because he was knocked from the hash to the sideline. You know, and that's, but a lot of teams don't have a fullback, right? So there's a lineman trying to get out there, or there's a tight end coming around that has to do that. Now, if Oops is that dude, it might be a different story. But so, you know, and I want to talk about this tight end room. But yeah, you know, and I think with a guy like Jefferson in a 3-3-5, obvious passing situation, that they come out in a bigger formation, 3-3-5 is perfect. You have him, and if you need to, you teach him how to drop down to that edge and blitz as well, but you still have 5 guys out there, and he picks up the tight end. You know, if they have a 5 wide receiver, then you still have a safety over the top. So lots of things there. Let's get to Alan. He's back. Thanks, Alan, for hanging in there with us, man. What's on your mind?
No problem. I'm way out here in Wyoming now. I happened to get on the radio show again yesterday. I'm so sick of hearing these people talk about Alabama. We're living rent-free in these people's heads. Coach Saban's living rent-free in these people's heads. And then they're talking about the scheduling. They're talking about the schedule. I told them, like I said, one yesterday, do y'all not realize these schedules are made years and years in advance? And please don't tell me Alabama has a weak schedule because it's new coach. That schedule was set in place when he was in elementary school. And y'all are worried about the schedule now? And y'all, I mean, really?
Where do they think we have? Where does Alabama have a weak schedule?
I guess because we're not open. They said so many teams are Clemson and Georgia's opening up with a top 10 team. I said, where was y'all at when Alabama was opening up with top 5 teams? And when they playing the game of the century with Florida State a couple of years back. I said Alabama opens up with a unless you come with a traditional powerhouse, you don't know from year to year. And Alabama opened up with traditional powerhouses: Miami, Florida State, who else? Clemson, West Virginia. You know, we did it year in and year out, and y'all complaining about it now?
Yeah, and Saban made a specific switch a couple of years ago, a few years back, not a couple, but a few years back. He went away from, because he was doing that to get that national attention. He was either going to play in Dallas or in Atlanta for recruiting purposes. Exactly. And now it's changed a little bit. But to call our schedule weak because of the first week of the season, well, they should call every Pac-12 team's schedule has been weak because they only had one game on their schedule all year. Oregon had to beat USC. USC had to beat Oregon. Michigan had to beat Ohio State. Ohio State had to beat Michigan. Georgia had to beat. I mean, I'm like, Georgia.
It's hate.
Yeah, so that's crazy.
You know, and as far as the defense goes, but y'all talking about now, I like the different look because it gives that defensive coach. We hope we got another Pete Golden on somebody's defense that can't coach worth a dang. It gives them different look. It It gives them different looks. It gives them something to think about. It gives them nightmares at night because you don't never know what Bama's going to throw at you at any particular time. And also, Martin, it also takes a guy with good IQ to play defense, doing those different formations and doing things like that. I mean, you just can't go out there and do it.
Did you hear Coach DeBoer talking about that a couple of days ago?
That's it. No.
All right, I'm gonna play that for you. Let me see if I can find it. He talked about how Alabama. When I heard it, I was like, I'm glad we didn't have to play them last year. Hold on, let me find that right here. Oh man. Yep, there we go. All right, here's Coach DeBoer talking about how he uses his defense in terms of getting them ready. I mean, making other teams have to defend our defense and why he does some of the movement he does. So here you go, right here. May not be perfect, but we'll get it going.
Out of that, and we got to make sure we can play fast and that it's not complicated for us. So, the base plays and then as many different wrinkles and just different pictures we can run our base stuff out of is only going to make it to where the defense has to talk, adjust, and if we can just help the guys gain one step by making the defense have to think about the shift and the motion that just happened and the communication that goes with it. That's only going to help them. And we've done a lot of it here, the first 4 practices, much more than we did in the spring, just because, again, they're getting the install, they're getting more comfortable. They're trusting that we're going to get them into certain spots with certain plays and concepts. And, they get to those spots. They're confident in themselves and the other guys around them. So I like where we're at there with all the moving parts. And it's no secret. We've done it for many years. So, we're not talking about anything no one knows about.
Oh, I want you to hear that last part, Alan. One more time. I got to let you got to hear this last
They're
part.
Confident in themselves and the other guys around them. So I like where we're at there with all the moving parts. And it's no secret. We've done it for many years. So, we're not talking about anything no one knows about.
Oh, Coach DeBoer said, we're going to confuse you. We're going to make you think. We're going to make you change your plays, Alan, in the middle of the play. We're going to get them thinking and then trying to figure out where to react to give our guys one step. By the way, it's no secret. We've been doing this for a while, so we know what we're doing. So your thoughts really quick, Alan, before I let you go.
Oh, I think that's a good. I think it's a very good idea. And as long as the players can do it, it's going to be some learning curves coming through there because it's their first year doing it. But once it gets down by the middle of the season,
Alan, this is what everybody forgets. What do they do all summer? 7-on-7.
They practice together. Oh yeah,
it's not just practice together. It's these offensive teams. The all summer. The coaches can't coach them, but they can put in the plays and have these kids go out and practice and execute and learn the motions and all of that. So where we used to have a spring, then nothing pretty much during the summer. Then by the time we got to fall camp, that's why we had to have 2-a-days, Alan. You didn't have enough time to put all that stuff in. These kids have been practicing 7-on-7, especially for skill positions, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks, DBs, outside linebackers, inside linebackers. They get all summer to run 7-on-7. And what did he say? He said, we're already doing a lot more than we did all spring. Why? Because they built off of the spring this summer, and now they're just blowing and going. I'm telling you, this offense is going to create nightmares for Kirby Smart. Because Kirby is the same way as Saban. He's the same way as Saban. The communication, all of those, yeah. Mm-hmm. We're gonna see some of the mistakes that Sark and Heupel made us have. We now have an offense that's gonna do the same to the other teams. Alan, I got to get out of here, man.
All right, thank you. Okay.
Hey, you got anything really quick on that side before we come back and talk about tight ends on the other side?
I mean, I love to hear that type of message when it comes down to what we're bringing to the table with this year's team. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally excited about what's happening in terms of this particular team. We'll be back on the other side to keep things going.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center on a quiet ride for your Tuscaloosa freeways right now. Now, what we are dealing with is just a little bit of an intersection slow-go, and this is on 15th Street as you travel in the westbound lane at Stillman Boulevard. It's got a bit of a slow-go. Also, Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard on the northbound hookup to 15th Street. You'll find yourself tapping on those brakes just a bit, not much. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Wednesday morning. Tuscaloosa police investigating a double homicide that happened Tuesday night. Now, the shooting was reported at 10:20 p.m. last night in the 3700 block of 25th Place. The Tuscaloosa Violent Crimes Unit says 25-year-old Keandra Lee Hawkins was the shooter and is charged with capital murder. The victims have been identified as 62-year-old Antoinette Hawkins and 63-year-old McCran James Montgomery. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news throughout the day. It's free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Wednesday edition of The Game, we're going to feature Aaron Torres. We're going to feature Bruce Marshall. We're going to talk about the handicapping side of college football. We'll do that with Bruce Marshall, one of our Vegas experts. Also front and center offensive availability from coaches, players, another practice on the campus of the University of Alabama. We've got you covered starting at 2 p.m. here on The Game on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest running sports program.
Looking at the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org.
365 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow trucks, law enforcement, and first responders working along Alabama's roadway.
We're making improvements and helping our communities stay connected.
We're working hard to make sure you're safe on the road. Now we need your help to make sure we're safe too.
Alabama's move over law requires you to move over a lane when you see flashing lights on the road.
Experience the wow factor. Contact Shoot Masonry and Specialties at 205-887-3807 today and unleash your home's full potential.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show, powered by Box Eye Care. I want to apologize, y'all. I got so hyped. I got to apologize to Scott. I got so hyped. I was ready to go, keep rolling, and realized, thanks to my producer, he keeping me on track, that I do have the Harvest Church Christian Moment of the Week. And so we're going to bring in Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries, for our Christian Moment of the Week. Good morning, Scotty, man. Take it away.
Absolutely. Hey, man, so excited to join you this morning, Martin. We're going to continue on our series, Friends Who Love Like This. And we've looked at, obviously, Jesus being our best example. John 15:13, greater love has no one than this, that you lay down your life for your friends, meaning doing what's best for the person you're loving, no matter what it costs you. Jesus said he would do that. He actually did that. He laid down his life for us, his friends, gave us his best when really we were at our worst. Romans 5:8 says, for God demonstrates his love for us in this, while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. So while we were at our worst, he gave us our best. So we're saying, how can we be friends who love like this? And so been looking at examples throughout the scriptures of others who kind of followed that example of Jesus. And again, the goal is for us to be, to follow that example. And like, you know, I think Martin has coined the phrase, and I know it's not his, but I love when he says it, you know, you want to be the change that you want to see, right? Isn't that what you say, Martin?
Yes,
and so when you talk about like being friends who love like this, if the world was full of, or even if there was, a growing number of friends who love like this world would look a lot different. I'll tell you that. So friends who do what's best for the person they're loving, even if it costs them greatly. All right. So, hey, today's example, I'm going to just introduce it, Martin, for the sake of time, because we're going to have to look at this a little bit. I was thinking, I wanted to find another example. I mean, it's plenty of them in the Bible, and especially in the Gospels. But here's one I found in Mark that came to mind. I was like, you got to share that one. You remember when the guy was kind of paralyzed, and there was this big crowd around Jesus, so big, and so it was standing room only type of deal, and like there were so many people around him they couldn't get to him. So his friends actually carry him on a mat and go climb on top of the roof and lower him down through the roof. And actually, it talks about them having to dismantle the roof. So this wasn't like hey, this is an open air situation, no roof or a hole in the roof. No, they had to actually open the roof up a little bit. And it says they made an opening in the roof above Jesus by digging through it. These friends carried this heavy man, went on top of a roof, and then dismantled the roof. They got to deal with whoever owned the roof. Like, I know he's gonna have some questions. Like, hey man, y'all messed my roof up. What's going on? Can you now fix that? Be a friend who loves like this to me too. But anyway, so I thought it was just amazing to see the effort that this group of 4 men, put forth to actually get this man to Jesus. They lower him down, and Jesus says, and then again, there's a lot more. So I'm just introducing it because I think there's a lot more to this. But I thought, how awesome is that, Martin? Don't you want some friends who love like that?
Absolutely. One of the things.
Yeah. No, that's it.
I was going to say, what a lot of people don't think about, even in that story, is it's not like they had a ladder.
Yeah.
So they didn't just walk up there and then just do this. They had to game plan. Then somebody had to go back and get the ladder. I don't know if they got tools or they dug through with their hand. Whatever it was, it wasn't just this is an easy thing. Let's just go up to the roof. So there was sacrifice that was made. There was more hard work. It wasn't easy. And, you said a couple other examples. There's several, but one of the ones actually there's a couple that jump out immediately, like Joseph.
Yeah.
With the way his brothers treated him.
Yep.
And then Stephen, as he's being stoned, to me, much like Jesus did on the cross, Stephen looked at him and said, Lord, don't hold this sin against them. Pretty much, forgive them for they know not what they do. So yeah, it's definitely we have some good examples to follow without a doubt. So yeah, I'll let you close out.
I'll say I want some friends who will be willing to put forth a lot of effort to get me to Jesus. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Like, hey, take me to him. And these guys said, that's the only person that can help you. I'm taking you to Jesus, and whatever we got to do to get you there, whatever we got to sacrifice to get you to him, we're going to do it. And that's a friend who loves like Jesus, man. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. And, a lot of times we think of that and we think that just means, like taking people to Jesus. Sometimes you're the gateway, sometimes it's that you forget. It says that it's the kindness of God that leads people to repentance, right? So sometimes it's not that you preach to them about Jesus. It's they go, well, why did you forgive me? Why did you forgive that person? You go, because Jesus who lives in me, that's what he modeled. And now you open the gate that because you love like Jesus and forgave despite being abused. So it's sometimes it's action like those guys. Sometimes it's your forgiveness, it's your mercy, it's your kindness, it's living like Jesus in order to love like Jesus. So tell them where they can find you, Scotty. Missed you, man.
Amen. www.blueprinttuscaloosa.com. Send me a message there. It comes straight to my email.
All right. That's Scotty Hollins. He joins us every Wednesday right here on the Martin Houston Show, powered by Fox Eye Care. Hey, we're going to get out of here. We appreciate you tuning in to hang out with us. We'll be back tomorrow for some recruiting news and updates. We're going to talk about the underappreciated position group. Who is it? We teased it all show long and didn't get to it, so we'll pick it up on tomorrow. Thanks for being a part of the program. And remember this, trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Roll Tide, everybody. We'll catch you on tomorrow.